Welcome to NFL World, where the NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And let's get into what happened with the Ravens going against the Cincinnati Bengals and the Ravens beating the Bengals 24-0. We said in the prediction video that the Bengals would win. It would be a similar score. The Bengals are going to find a way to win because the Ravens can't do anything on offense. That did not happen. The Ravens came to play. They went after Joe Burrow. First of all, they ran the football. Run the football. You have Derrick Henry back there. Run the football. Hand him the ball. The Bengals can't stop it. Why not run the football? Stop trying to throw it. You're not a passing offense. Run the football. They did. They won. Joe Burrow, yes, he was throwing it all over the yard, but they didn't score. Didn't matter. If you didn't score, does not matter. Big time win by the Ravens. Both theoretically still had a chance to make the playoffs, dependent on what the Steelers do on Monday night against the Dolphins. We'll see what happens there. But a big time win by the Ravens. For the Bengals, you have to ask yourself this question. Is it time we part with Zach Taylor? Because this team doesn't work. And when we get to the Cowboys, we're going to pose a similar question about why on every play the tight end or a running back, or sometimes both on every play, we'll go run a route. There's a blitz going to happen, and we see it, we can telegraph it, everything can be seen, and yet the tight end is not staying in. The running back is not staying in. And there's not a quick outlet pass. It's just everyone's going deep, even though there's 6-7 people are coming on this play. Happens all the time. They can't protect Joe Burrow. That's why, he is making those comments about, I'm losing the love of the game. I'm losing it. It's just, yeah, he is. And a lot of players are, because you have a coach that doesn't realize, hey, let's give a quarterback a lot of control here and see what he wants to do. Like, is it time you part with Zach Taylor? I think the answer is yes. I think you have to. Your defense has not gotten better. And this year, your offense it's been potent, but at times, it's not, like, you can't really run the football well. It's a pass-happy offense. You're betting Joe Burrow is not going to get destroyed and hurt over and over and over again. That's what you're betting on. You can't protect the guy. It's that simple. At that point, I think it's an offensive line issue. It's a coaching issue. It needs to be addressed. Moving to the Bills and Patriots game, where the Bills beat the New England Patriots 35-31. In a game where the Bills had to turn to Superman. Josh Allen, James Cook had to turn into Superman again. You gave up 31 points in the defense. That's not great. You were down 21-0, but you bore back. You win the game 35-31. Big time win. This keeps you in the playoff picture. You currently have a playoff spot. But it's not confirmed. That's not definitive. You have to find a way to keep on winning. You need to be better if you're the Bills. You cannot afford for games to get this close this many times. It's just not sustainable. But this is also your best chance to win a Super Bowl, because as we'll talk about in the next block with the Chiefs, they're not in it. The Ravens currently aren't in it. You have a chance to make a run here, because the boogeyman is not there. And Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, you have a chance to make it. You got to find a way to get there. You got to find a way to make some noise. For the Patriots, you're 11-3. It's not great, but that's okay. It's all right. It's all right. You just have to correct it. That's all you have to do. You're 11-3. Still have a firm grip on the division. You got to get back on track next week. That's all you can do. Just get back on track and keep on going. This was bound to happen. You hadn't lost a game in over 2 months. This was bound to happen at some point. You're happy it happened now instead of in the playoffs. So that's simple. Moving on to the Chargers and Chiefs, with the Chargers beating the Chiefs 16-13. The score for the Chargers makes sense. And West Coast team that's indoors should, when they go into the cold, should not score more than 20 points. That just should not happen. And they didn't. They scored 16. So the Chiefs score doesn't make sense. And this is the same time every time they do this. It's 13 points. Had a one touchdown and that was it. They can't do anything on offense. They're a disaster. It wasn't the fact that they lost. They lost in division. That's a problem. Yeah, we're going to win the division anyway. But with this loss, and with the Bills beating the Patriots and the Texans winning against the Cardinals, you are eliminated from playoff contention for the first time in 10 years. So that's an issue. But that's not even the biggest issue that happened yesterday for the Chiefs, as Patrick Mahomes suffered a torn ACL. He's done for the rest of the year, probably done until the middle of next year at the earliest. And this is what you have to ask yourself. Okay, there was a chance to win the game. Maybe we could have made it. Now, it's not going to happen. There's a lot of problems with this team. It starts with the fact that Mahomes is injured, and now he's going to miss halfway next year. Like, that's not good. Your offensive line is awful. You can't protect. You can't protect anybody. You can't. I know you have backup tackles. I get that. But you've had so many drop passes. You can't run the football. Your defense, for whatever reason, is not playing very well. They can't get pressure on the quarterback consistently. They can't really stop the run game consistently. It's a problem. But now that Mahomes is out, all those things are going to magnify exponentially. Because you won't have that guy who can become Superman, who can throw the ball 70 yards down the field, 80 yards down the field. You won't have that guy. You just don't have him anymore. And now you're betting on Gardner Minshew to be that quarterback, to bring you through this. Your receivers are too small. We've said this week in and week out. Your receivers are too small. You have too many drop passes. You can't run the football. You can't protect your quarterback. And your receivers are too small. That's the offensive issues. When we have to go 4, 5, and sometimes 6 receivers deep to find a tall receiver, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's what you do with the Chiefs. It's 4, 5, or 6 guys before you find a tall receiver. Like, that's what you get. You don't have anything. You have to build this offensive line up. You have to find some wide receiver help. You have to find a run game. You have to find something good on defense, because it's not going to work. It's that simple. And now that Mahomes is gone, who knows when he comes back? I put the timeline in my head of, okay, maybe you can get him back at the earliest in early November. That's not great. Are you playing for anything at that point? If you are, then okay, bring him back. And if you're not, maybe it's just best that you sit him the rest of the year and then try to get that thing as healthy as possible, and then play him in 2027. You could do that. I mean, it would not be great, because now he hasn't played in a year. But would you prefer that? If you're not playing for anything, would you want him out there? Is my question. Who knows? But a big loss by the Kansas City Chiefs. Another big time loss. This went to the Packers. Playing Denver, third quarter, Micah Parsons does a pass rush that he's done. You could say he's done this no short of he's probably done this over thousands of times. There's no way he has never done this thousands of times. He suffers a non-contact knee injury. He's kind of assisted off the field. He walks, but he was assisted. Same thing like Mahomes, he was assisted to walk off the field. It's feared to be a torn ACL. It hasn't been confirmed, but it's been feared that it's a torn ACL. The same timeline presents. If Parsons and Mahomes only come back, or only have surgery the second full week of January, because it takes about a couple weeks to get the swelling to go down. And that's why a lot of guys don't operate right away. It's because of the swelling. That's what they're concerned about. So with all that being said, that puts you into October before you start practicing. And that puts you into maybe early or late October, early November for non-contact drills. So who knows? Who knows exactly? You might be able to do contact drills in the beginning of November, but you might be at the end of October and still be doing non-contact stuff. Like, you don't know. And both of these guys, it's going to be harder because they're so athletic. They're so athletically gifted that it might take longer. What Parsons does, he lines up everywhere. So he has to use different parts of his body. That could be longer before he comes back. Mahomes, the same thing. He runs around. He's not like Tom Brady where he's a statue over there. He's running around, scrambling, trying to pick up yardage, running a lot more. Like that's a lot. He's running a lot more the last 2 years. So who knows when he comes back? We'll have to wait and see. But that would be a devastating injury. It's a devastating injury, and when do they come back? And are you playing for anything at that point? All questions are going to have to be answered in the coming months. We'll have to just wait and see. Moving on to the Eagles-Raiders game. Eagles winning the game 31-0. Props to the Eagles. They took all the noise. They lost 3 games straight. Lost 3 games straight in a very short period of time. And they took all that noise and they said, let's go win this game against the Raiders. And they did. And they won easily. That was the point. You had to find something for your offense. They ran the football well. They could throw the football. They played great defense. They got after Kenny Pickett. Granted, it was Kenny Pickett, but their offense, the Raiders' offense, wasn't good with Geno Smith. You'll take anything. So big time win by the Eagles. Jalen looked good. It wasn't always pretty at times early in the year. We talked about how it just didn't seem like they were clicking all the way. Now they got this big time win. Try to get back on track. They thought the division was going to slip from them a little bit because losing 3 games straight, that starts creeping into your mind a little bit. Big time win by the Eagles. For the Raiders, this is the question. Is it time that you have a conversation and say, is Pete Carroll really our guy? Is he really? Because think about it. Fired offensive coordinator, fired special teams coach. This is a long process. We just saw what our offense and defense was able to do. This is going to be a long process. Does Pete Carroll want to be here for that process? Because it's not really a question on if he's the right kind of coach that we need. Or it's not like that at all. It's just there's a lot of pieces that are missing that we don't have time to get. It's going to take 2-3 years to find. If Pete Carroll was 63, okay. But he's not. He's in his 70s. Does he really want to coach that long in general? Or does he really want to coach that long and hope that they can build this team slowly? I don't think he wants to do that. So I think you do have to have a conversation about it. I just don't think he fits what you got to do. I think you need a younger coach who can build this team and is going to be there for a long term and not just a short term and then, okay, pass it off. I just don't think you have the right guy. I don't think Pete Carroll's a bad coach. I think he's a great coach. But if he was younger, I would look at this and say, okay, sure, this might be a 3-year plan of what we got to do to build this roster. Not win a Super Bowl, build a roster. He's in his 70s. Does he really have that time? That's something that has to all be asked. Moving on to the Rams and the Lions. The Rams winning the game 41-34. I mean, you can look at it and say, like what we did with the Lions last week, you gave up 34 to the Lions. That's not great if you're the Rams. But you won the game. The Lions are very potent. And you were down in this game. You were down. But you found a way to get back and get winning. And then your offense looked good. You did suffer a big injury, Devontae Adams. We're not exactly sure what the injury is. He came in with a hamstring. So the prognosis hasn't been determined yet, but it was told it doesn't look good. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, if it is, well, he's going to miss the rest of the regular season, but might be back for playoffs. You can survive with that. You have enough talent and enough experience that you can survive with that. And your run game has been really good. I'm talking about the Rams. For the Lions, you could not afford to lose this game with Chicago winning. You could not afford for that to happen. Now, you were already on the outside looking in. The best thing that happened to you was the Packers loss. That's the best thing that happened to you. But not a good week for the Lions. They have to rebound because you do play the Bears at some point. You do play the Vikings at some point. You do have to get back on the horse. And for the Rams, it was a big-time win. If I remember correctly, they're the they're the first team to clinch a playoff. Actually, no. They and Denver, if I remember correctly, clinched a playoff spot this weekend. So there you go. Big-time win by the Rams. They needed it. Can you clinch the number 1 seed and hopefully give Devontae, if he is able to go, enough time where he has a couple weeks off? We'll see what happens there. I think they'll really miss Adams in the red zone. Most specifically, I think that's where they'll miss him the most. Last game, Vikings beating the Dallas Cowboys 34-26. Look, it wasn't always pretty from the offense for the Vikings. They had an early interception, but outside of that, J.J. McCarthy played well. Some throws he missed, but he was throwing ropes. He was playing really good football. He played really well. He moved the ball well. You can't be asking, your receivers to catch these rocket balls every time. But other than that, I thought they played fine. Their defense played really well. The Cowboys' offensive line could not figure that out at all. No chance. It's a great job by Flores. He came in with a great game plan. Great win for the Vikings. For the Cowboys, very disappointing. Your offense, again, only scored 2 touchdowns. The rest were field goals. Your kicker missed 2 field goals. Not characteristic of him. He didn't have his best stuff today. But there's parts of this. The only concern, I'm not concerned about the run game of the Cowboys. I'm not concerned about the receivers of the Cowboys. Even though when Rodney Harrison said, "Don't pay George Pickens," I was like, really? Really? You have to. And the reason you have to is because you don't have the weapons. I was around when this team did not have George Pickens. This is not a new thing. When you didn't have George Pickens, you could not, outside of CeeDee Lamb, there was nobody getting open. Now you have a guy who can get open. It's that simple. You have to pay him. You have to pay him. Outside of that little tidbit, this is the issue. The Cowboys' offensive line, really bad. Did not play well. Just did not. We talked about it earlier about how the Bengals don't put a tight end or running back to block. The Cowboys tried to put a running back in the block. In Malik Davis, he got walked back every time. Because Javonte Williams got hurt, he came back but wasn't out there in pass protection stuff. They wouldn't hold the tight end in for no reason. I don't know why they keep doing that. Help your quarterback out. He's getting beaten up. Help him. Try to help. It was bad showing by the offensive line. Again, so you have to figure something out in that fight. I don't think your tackles got beat. Nate Thomas, he suffered an injury. You brought in Akeem Adeniji. It did not work. He did not play well. Terrence Steele keeps getting beat. You can't. I think if you're the Cowboys, you don't have a theoretical chance of really making the playoffs. You 1% is not really a theoretical chance. But when you get to this offseason, there's 3 things you need to do on offense. Well, actually 4 things. 4 things you got to do. Thing number 1 is sign George Pickens. Thing number 2 is sign Javonte Williams. And then things 3 and 4 are get better tackles. Find a way to get better tackle. Or you say, well, Tyler Layton's going to be our guy. It's like, okay, then figure out a better swing tackle option. Because Nathan Thomas has been okay, but not great. But Terrence Steele is a disaster. It's a disaster. It's not better. It's not getting better. You got to make a change. You just have to. And then I guess that would be the only issues on the offense. The defensive side has way more issues. And it starts at the top. We say this every week. We said this the last 2 weeks. Matt Eberflus needs to go. He needs to go. It doesn't work. They blitzed. I saw a stat. I think it was Bobby Belt who put this out there. Who's it? He works for the Cowboys. He's a Cowboys insider. And he was saying how Matt Eberflus in the first quarter of games blitzes 60% of the time. In quarters 2, 3, and 4, in the last 2 weeks, 13.6. They don't blitz. They don't blitz. And it's not like they can get pressure with the front 4. They're not running as many 5-man fronts anymore, which I don't know why. They don't blitz. They can't get pressure with the front 4. Their linebackers are terrible. Kenneth Murray, I don't know why he's still on the field. And I know that you can say, well, they didn't start him last week. They didn't start him this week. He played more snaps. That's the difference. You could say, well, Logan Wilson's the starter, but he's not playing as many snaps as Kenneth Murray is. So who's really the starter?